I hate today's celebrity culture. I can't stand the idea of women and men in the media distributing their poison about life and about survival skills and about how people should behave in a society. Those media icons are completely destructive for most of them when it comes to images of women, when it comes to truth, when it comes to telling the truth about themselves. They will insist on portraying negative patterns for younger children to follow. And then they will insist on lying when they have cosmetic surgery. And therefore cultivate some kind of godlike status for themselves, which is basically an insult to the mind of the general public. I dislike people who demand huge paychecks for doing something that quite a few people frankly could do, celebrity footballers, or for being the wife of a footballer. As far as I'm concerned, what I look up to after God himself: honesty, beauty, strength of character, and talent. All I can see in the media, I'm afraid, is a loss of a lot of values, a lot of strengthening aspects of mankind, of humanity, such as assertiveness, truthfulness about the self, empowerment for people who are weaker in society, such as people like women or elderly people. People in vulnerable positions in society should be strengthened by the media. People who are disabled should have more role models. It's very difficult to find that at all, and I find it despicable because really it's sort of abusive towards people who don't have much to look up to in life and just want a role model, just want something to cling to, want somebody to defend them and represent them. I find it very sad that, for example, those people in the media abuse their power, their position of power, to potentially destroy a lot of young women with their negative images, their patterns of self-destructiveness, which are encouraging, and some of them glamorizing violence, some of them glamorizing death, suicide, some of them glamorizing violence associated with sex, and some of them encouraging, glamorizing horribly skinny images of women. And all this, of course, associated with youth, which is a synonym of vulnerability, in the sense that young people don't have the luggage to understand, therefore defend themselves. They don't have a debate about those matters because they do not know life yet. So when they have all these images of themselves projected by the people they look up to, who are basically the new gods of this society, those people reflecting how beautiful it is to be skinny, or and violent, or and sexually promiscuous, I'm afraid for the next generation, because the role models they have are not strong bases enough for them to carry on in life and be protected emotionally. They don't have the luggage they need to carry forward. They don't have the life skills needed to be a strong adult. And I deplore the fact that women are so misused as icons, as items of communication in the media. I deplore the fact that this is really starting to reflect into this society and the way women are being associated with easiness or looseness of conduct, or women are not respected as they should be in society, in a society where people used to lift their top hats off when they saw a lady, What we do see now is women being gauged and treated like sex objects. And we do see women who behave like sex objects, even though what they really want is affection, and they want recognition as human beings, recognition as intelligent beings, that right, that basic human right. I wish that celebrity culture, as it is known now, would come to a halt or change. I wish there would be more values thrown at young people today. I wish there would be more mature people in the media. I mean, for example, TV channels getting rid of people over 60. This ageism, this sexism can only be fatal to a civilization, because, for example, where I came from, French West Indies, there's a strong Pan-African oral culture, which means that people would, in the past, traditionally, communicate through tales and stories, and gather around a fire and tell each other stories about the community and how their people, their ancestors would survive, how they would fight and strive, and the lessons they could get out of that would come from this oral communication, and this wisdom actually came from the older people. And when an older person died, it was as if a library had collapsed. I wish this wisdom character wouldn't vanish so easily in Western modern societies, because it is appalling. There are people who are 60 something, the people on wheelchairs who have a lot to say about life. I just wish that this injustice would stop, and those people would also have a voice, not just in the Paralympics, not just in special programs, but also in mainstream pop music, in mainstream media culture. There would be a greater place for people who don't look like ideal top model. Less people would be famous for being famous. There would be more people given an opportunity to start a clothing line, for instance. There should be an evaluation of talent on the basis of talent. There should be more place for people with actual abilities. It's a waste of human qualities, it's a waste of time, it's a waste of space and a waste of energy. And I think it should be reevaluated before the whole of this society as an intellectual entity collapses, because that's exactly what we're heading for. And the more we allow and watch people taking high seats just because they look good, or because they belong to an elite, or because they belong in a pop band, the more we allow this to happen, the more we lose our heritage as the human group. I find it deplorable. And this celebrity culture, those elites in the media, tend to also brag a lot, boast a lot about their privileges. And I wish they would be more aware of their feebleness as humans, their petiteness as creatures, because they are only human, and some of them really become so arrogant, forgetting about all the children in third world countries, for example, who have to sell themselves for food and have 20 times more talent than themselves. I wish they would remember those artists who struggle day after day and never will be recognized, even though they have more talent. I wish those celebrities, those people on high chairs, wouldn't act like babies, because they have also a heavy responsibility of leading the people. They have more power than politicians in the mind of the people. They should take the role seriously as a heavy one instead of taking it lightly as a game of sandcastles, because it isn't. It's actually a huge responsibility, and they can destroy a whole race like that by showing the wrong example for the future generations. Instead of bragging and demanding more privileges, they should really empathize with the rest of the world, because that is, believe it or not, part of their job. They are idols, they are leaders. They should take this role a bit more seriously and with more maturity. Thank you. Thank you for listening.